Here we have an evaluation question. So outline one criticism of Pavlov's research into classical conditioning. So I am going to highlight one criticism. The reason for that is if I put two, I'm just going to be credited for one of the ones that I've talked about. It's going to be that first one. So I want to have a nice detailed evaluation point that I'm talking about. And just to remind me, I'm talking about Pavlov's research. Now, one thing that will probably come straight to your mind, and we know this because of what you did in your mocks, is talking about ethics. Now remember, we are psychologists. We're not looking at this from a biological point of view. We just care about humans. And to be honest, we don't care about the dogs. Ethically, we can do what we want to those dogs. Okay? So you don't actually get any credit for talking about the dogs. This is all about how the research has been used. Now, because it's one, I'm going to follow a nice burger paragraph for this one. So I'm going to think of what my point is, what my explanation is going to be, or my evidence, and then linking it back to this statement. I'm going to show you how I would do this. Now, I am going to signpost from my examiner. I am going to show them that I know what this question is asking me. So I'm going to start it off with one criticism of Pavlov's research is that what should we go for? Let's talk about it using animals. Is that the use of dogs means that we are unable to apply it to humans. This is my point. This bit here. Okay, I've just generally said my point. That wouldn't be an evaluation within itself. That is literally just saying this is what I'm going to be talking about. Okay. My kind of explanation is coming up next. So, some psychologists argue that humans have free will, i.e. we think about what we're doing. We don't just respond to a stimulus, we actually think about it. Okay? Or we don't just associate two things together, we're thinking about it. Kind of like what cognitive wants to do, they think about it. So I'm going to argue that humans have free will, and so our behaviour is not shaped by classical conditioning. Right, here I specified classical conditioning because again it was said in the question. So in my response I've already said one criticism, Pavlov's research and classical conditioning. Can't argue that I'm not answering the question here. So this is the middle of my burger, my explanation or evidence. Now I need to link it back to the question. So again, lots of signposting needed here. I'm going to say this is a criticism. Again, I'm using the words from the question because the findings from Pavlov's research, again, using words from the question, cannot be generalized from dogs. I'm specifying that it's a dog, showing off that I know my Pavlov research, to humans. And that's me linking back to the question. So some people just write that as their evaluation point, but actually it's looking for all this as well. And just to emphasise it once more, let's look at how I've signposted. One criticism, taken direct from the question. Pavlov's research, there it is. Classical conditioning, from there. Criticism, taken from there. Pavlov's research. So you can see that I have signposted a heck of a lot, so you cannot argue that I haven't answered that question. That is the criticism that you would use for this. That is the biggie. Like I said, you wouldn't use your ethical stuff because we just don't really care. So that is the main criticism for that one. So if you haven't got 2 marks for this question, can you please go back and look at how you can change and adapt your response to something that's much more like this.